Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. I am pretty hyped for this one today. We've seen Ducky collabs before, some done really well and some just done, but this one is definitely on the higher end of that spectrum. The pre-sales for this are gonna go live at 9:20 Pacific time. That gives you plenty of time to watch this video. Go over and watch BT's video. Decide if this is something you want before those pre-sales go live. Chances are they're gonna sell out. This is very limited. This is a Ducky 1.2 SF frame in a crazy custom colorway with ZEAL switches. Well, technically ZEAL switches, but there is an important detail we need to discuss. You ready? Let's go! So what we have today is a very special collab between Ducky, ZEAL PC, and a company looking to make a big name for itself with this release, One of Zero out of Canada. Priced at around $175 US for standard switches or around $190 for silent versions, this is the Iodine limited edition. It takes the 1.2 SF layout and gives you your choice of 4 different ZEAL switches, not Cherry MX. Then they add a ton of custom details that we're gonna walk through. These are limited to 1,010 pieces worldwide with, I believe, 600 dedicated to North America. Expected shipping date on these is somewhere around April 20th. So if for some reason you're not familiar with the 1.2 SF, it's Ducky's 65% layout, so you do get dedicated arrows and a column of 3 additional keys on the far right. The case is custom colored, like a matte silver, light gray top, and a full translucent purple lower section. It looks absolutely sick. Obviously, these are not the run-of-the-mill Ducky keycaps. We've got a 2-tone gray set, not shine through, but double shot PBT, so a lighter gray for the alphas and a darker charcoal gray for the mods with white legends. No side legends anywhere on the caps either, so it looks super clean. We also have special dye sub Iodine caps for the escape, backspace, enter, and spacebar, plus the 3 far right 1U keys. One of my least favorite things about the 1.2 SF, and why I seldom recommend it, is the unique sized 2-unit right shift. It makes it hard to replace the keycaps, but the last thing I would want to do is replace this set. I think this looks crazy. Smooth texture, nice and thick, just really clean. If you're not feeling the look of those Iodine caps, there's extra caps in the box, so you can just keep that 2-tone gray. The backlight is set to all white by default, which does come off a little bluish. The plate is actually purple as well underneath there. Like, the level of detail here is crazy, and it all just comes together for a really good look. And speaking of something that's always a good look, today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for both creatives and aspiring creatives with thousands of effective and inspiring classes. If you're one of the many people working from home right now, I think one of the biggest challenges is maintaining inspiration, motivation, and really enjoying the creative process. Continuing education and being able to take an objective look at my own content is key for me when it comes to that. I've been watching Grab Your Audience create enthralling intros for your videos from JR Alley. It's really helped me to re-engineer the first 15 seconds of my videos, and I've seen that translate directly, real world, into better audience retention stats, and that's a hugely important analytic right now. That's a big reason of why I keep coming back to Skillshare. They have tons of courses about every aspect of what I do, stuff like videography, editing, marketing, and it's all actionable. It's designed to be consumed in bite-sized sections, so you can fit it in whenever you have a small time window, and there's no ads to pull you out of that headspace. It costs less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. It's one of the best investments I've made in myself and my creative career. And the first 1,000 of you to click the link down in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. Big thanks to Skillshare for continuing to support the channel, and big thanks to you for your time. I appreciate it. Inside the box, the dust cover is translucent purple. The plastic the board comes in is black and purple. The keycap puller is gray and purple. The only thing that isn't made specifically for this board is the cable. I do want to touch on the backlighting here because with the default all white lighting and really low light or total darkness, the legends look pink, and that spacebar, even though it looks really dope with some lights on, does show the shadow of the ridges making up the structure. It may not bother you, but there you go. It also took me a while to catch that the Iodine logo isn't centered exactly on the keycap. Now, whether or not that's intentional, I don't know. So the switches in this particular model are the Rosilio Silent Linear 67 grams. So there's a couple things here. First off, and I don't want to make light of this, having ZEAL switches in a pre-built option is insane. But you may notice that the bottom housing doesn't look like ZEAL switches that you've seen before. These are Rosilio. These have a full polycarb upper and lower housing. They can't use that material on the bottom housing in a production board because the wave soldering method that they use on production lines gets so hot that it actually melts those polycarb lowers. So these have a PA66 nylon lower, the same material used in cherry switches. You may remember a variant of these floating around a while back on the 62 gram Xylence. Most people called them milky bottom ZEALs. Gross. To me, they don't feel as smooth as the full polycarb versions, which was a criticism that revolved around those milky bottom ZEALs while they were in market. Everything else is 100% the same. The tolerances are spot on, but they do feel less smooth and they have a slightly lower pitch sound than the polycarb versions. ZEAL switches always benefit from lubing and filming, so the keyboard nerd inside me wants to be able to lube these so bad, but they're soldered in. And again, that's me being kind of a keyboard snob. Your average consumer that's going for a pre-built board will likely never notice. And I would take these over Cherry Silent Reds any day of the week. These sound and feel better to me. They are using Ducky stabilizers in here as well. They are factory lubed and they sound and feel pretty good. After you get into customs, it's pretty difficult to judge the acoustics on a production board. And what I thought was a pretty average sounding board at first is really not. It sounds better than a lot of the pre-builts I have here. Even this Maya Pro, which is pretty highly regarded, but is a total ping fest. Listen. So at its core, it's still a 1.2 SF and everything that comes with that. So even though the default backlight is set to white, you do still have all the hardware-based controls for full RGB and remapping. The addition of the purple plate really doesn't seem to take away from the RGB at all either. You also get the logo plate, the extra spacebar LEDs, but some of the negatives too, like that case flex. With the base 1.2 SF at around 110 US for standard switches or 114 for silence, this is a pretty good size upcharge for this board, but you're getting the case, the keycap set, the accent keys, and the ZEAL switches in there, even if they are a step behind the full polycarb ZEALs. Worth mentioning too that there are some Kale options now available for the standard 1.2 SF. For me, it's a really striking look and a better layout than a standard 60% like a 1.2 mini collab. I just can't help but wish that this board felt a little smoother, if only because I know what those full polycarb ZEALs are really capable of. It's a combination of the lower housings on these switches and the case, but if you didn't specifically tell me these were ZEALs, like if they didn't have that look, I wouldn't necessarily pick out anything special about this board just based off feel or sound. So that's it, final call. For a production board, I like this board a lot, and the whole vision for the collab really comes together in a way that's not nearly as polarizing as the Bounce collab. But man, is it expensive, and the benefit you would normally get of going with ZEAL switches is mitigated both by the nylon lowers and the inability to mod the switch. This, for me, with its big price tag, falls into the realm of a collector board. If you're watching this and what you're in the market for is a daily driver, really strong pre-built 65% board, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Ducky and Zeal Maya Pro. $125 with silent switches or $109 for standard. Really great look on the Moonlight colorway, a layout that accommodates all standard sets and has blocking on the arrow keys. It's a killer layout, and the board does have some decent acoustics as well if you can get that ping under control, and the feel of the board is very good as well. I've had a ton of requests for a review on that board, so it'll be getting the full review treatment very soon. Affiliate links down below if you want to get your hands on one of these. As always, any questions, hit me in the comments. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.